2 weeks ago endorsed him. I think that this is going to be come out and actually do criticize him for making it harder, not easier.
All right, Phil Wakeman, thank you, my friend. Good catching up with you again. Phil Wakeman following all that for Real Clear Politics. Now, the president might have inserted himself into these races unintentionally by making a comment about what's happening with gas prices. Take a look at this.
Here's the situation. And when it comes to the gas prices, we're going through an incredible transition that is taking place that, God willing, when it's over, will be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when this is over.
I have a feeling that Senator John Barrasso doesn't quite agree with everything the president just outlined. They're the Wyoming senator, Senate Republican Conference Chair, kind enough to join us right now. Senator, he seemed to be saying the ends justify the means here, and that in the end will be all the better for this. What did you think of it?
Well, it sounds to me like the president's saying, take your medicine, prices are going to stay high because I'm going to get rid of fossil fuel. I will do whatever the far, far left says to do regarding climate. Look, high energy prices like American families are suffering with right now, bad for their standard of living, bad for the choices they have to make in their life. 92% of the American people are worried about the cost of energy. People are having to cancel activities this Memorial Day weekend. The president is completely out of touch with the pain that the American people are suffering, and if he is in any way connected to it, he's refusing to find and act on the solutions that we know that are there.
We do know, Senator, that the president is going to tap, or it looks like he's set to tap the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I didn't realize there was a separate one for diesel fuel, but he's ready to do that. Now, he has already done that with general petroleum, and prices are now higher than they were when he first announced that. So are you confident that he'll have any more success on the diesel side if he goes ahead and does it?
No, Neil, he's just throwing one Hail Mary pass after another, trying to deal with these high prices. He's talked about going to Venezuela, going to deal with a dictator to try to get some more oil, even though the way they produce it is the dirtiest oil that's produced all around the world. He's rather willing to dance with a dictator than to drill for more American energy. The American people know the impact of these high gas prices on their own lives. They're at a point where they can't tighten the belt any further. They're cutting out all sorts of things, including haircuts, including going to the movies, including music lessons for the kids. Grandparents can't visit their grandchildren. They were locked out for 2 years due to COVID with a lockdown, and now they're being locked out because of the high cost of gasoline, all related to the policies of this president. Because remember, the cost of gasoline was $2.38 a gallon the day Joe Biden became president. Today, another all-time record high, $4.60 a gallon.
You know, Senator, be remiss if we talk about these primary battles across the country. In 5 key states, Georgia and Texas stand out among them, sir. And a lot of saying that it's a test of the so-called, Trump bump and whether he can continue what's been a pretty startling record of more successes than failures on that front. Now, he might lose when it comes to the challenge for Georgia's governor, but he stands to gain in other key races, including in that Senate battle where Herschel Walker seems to be the odds-on favorite. What is your sense of the former president's influence and impact for Republicans?
Well, President Trump clearly is a major influence on our party and on voters. I will tell you, we are going to take the House and take the Senate. We are nominating candidates who will win in November all across the board because they're going to focus on the things that the American people are concerned about, which is inflation, which is the border crisis, which is crime in the city. The things that matter to people at home are the things they're going to vote on, and that's going to be a big year for Republicans because when you get high energy costs, look, it hurts the poor and it angers voters. It lowers the standard of living. When item after item, the Republicans are lined up with the concerns of the American people, and the Democrats are out of touch.
Do you think, Senator, that if former Senator David Perdue loses to Brian Kemp tonight, that former President Trump should rally around and support Brian Kemp in that race?
Well, I want to make sure, to me, the most important date is November 8th. That's Election Day. I think that whoever is nominated tonight for the Republicans is a much better governor from Georgia than Stacey Abrams. I mean, she said today or yesterday that she thinks Georgia is the worst state in the country in which to live. It's kind of mind-boggling that they should be running for the
Would it be helpful to you, sir? Would it be helpful to you, sir, to remove any equivocation here, and that the former president should say, "All right, this guy was not my first pick, and I had a beef with him over, the 2020 election, but he's certainly better than Stacey Abrams." Do you think that would be helpful to hear that from Donald Trump?
No, I think it would absolutely be helpful, and endorsing the Republican winner in November, I think, is very helpful for all of us, and good for the country and good for the people of that state.
Got it. Senator Barrasso, very good catching up with you, sir. Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming.
Thanks.
We're following all these cross currents today. We're also following 2 big press events that are coming momentarily. One concerning this school shooting in Texas, a Texas elementary school, where we're learning that 2 children have died in that apparent attack. And also today in New York, the man who was behind that fatal subway shooting of a Goldman Sachs worker was indiscriminate, and it was totally out of the blue. He turned himself into police. So we got the latest out of Texas, the latest out of New York. Stay with us. You are watching Your World.
This Memorial Day, Lowe's is home to prices that light up the whole scene.
I have been giving Coley kibble. It never looked like real food. With the farmer's dog, you can see the pieces of turkey. It smells like actual food. As he's aged, he's still quite energetic and youthful. I really attribute that to diet.
Get started at long.
Singing or speaking.
Reason or fun? Daring or thoughtful? Sensitive or strong? Progress isn't either or. Progress is everything.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment.
We thought we planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies. Or call 1-800-515-4100. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Work night, vacation high. Book with Priceline, because when you save more, you can no way more.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. No way. Priceline, every trip is a big deal.
Your shipping manager left to find himself, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
All right, so with a number of key primary races on the ballot today, all eyes are on Georgia. We'll have the very latest results analysis tonight on Hand It.
At Amazon, hourly employees earn benefits that support themselves and their families. Benefits like healthcare on day one and up to 20 weeks of fully paid leave for new parents. But that's just the start. We're always improving for our employees and their families.
Amazon has fantastic parental leave. 20 weeks off, fully paid. Spending that extra time with them just meant so much to me. He's only going to be really little once.
At Amazon, hourly employees earn benefits that support themselves and their families. Benefits like healthcare on day one, up to 20 weeks of fully paid leave for new parents. But that's just the start. We're always improving for our employees and their families.
Every search you make, every click you take, every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching you.
The internet doesn't have to be so creepy. DuckDuckGo is a free all-in-one privacy app with a built-in search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, and more. Stop companies like Google from watching you by downloading the app today. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Invite knowledge in today with Connections Academy, a family-focused approach to tuition-free online public school. Absolutely.
All right, details are still sketchy, but we were getting word a little while ago of a school shooting, an elementary school shooting in Texas, in Uvalde, Texas. We know of 2 children who are dead, at least a dozen injured. Bill Malugin has more. Bill, what can you tell us?
Good afternoon to you. We just got on scene here at the Civic Center in the city of Uvalde, where we're told there's going to be an imminent press conference within the next 30 minutes or so with details. But what we're hearing so far, unfortunately, is not good. A law enforcement source telling me there are multiple fatalities associated with this school shooting at Robb Elementary School, again here in Uvalde, not far from the city of San Antonio, not far away from the border in Eagle Pass. Unfortunately, what we're hearing from other sources is not good. It sounds quite grim. We're told there are many, many injuries. Apparently, what we're hearing from law enforcement sources is this started with a shooting away from the school. The shooter then went into the school, and that is when this shooting first took place. If we have a video up, if we can show this right now, this apparently shows, or claims to show the shooter going into one of the school buildings armed with a gun. Not sure if we're showing that right now, but this was posted to social media from the school grounds a short time after that shooting was reported. After that, there were students who were led out of the school after the shooting was reported. There are videos posted online showing that as well. And the local hospital here, Uvalde Memorial Hospital, reporting they are currently treating multiple children in their emergency room as a result of the shooting. I can tell you that there are parents here who are waiting at this press conference who look like they really haven't been told a whole lot. It's very somber, very quiet here, people waiting for information. The ATF is here. There are Border Patrol agents here acting as security right now, as the local police department is obviously very busy right now. We are not in front of the school. We are in front of the Civic Center, where we are told there is going to be a press conference. But again, we are not hearing good information about this. Law enforcement sources confirming there are multiple fatalities associated with this school shooting, an elementary school. It's horrible to think about, and we are now waiting for a press conference to start. We were told a while ago it was going to be within 30 minutes. A gentleman came up to us when we got on scene and said they're still figuring it out. So that's all we've got right now, Neil. We're waiting for more information. As we get it, we will, of course, update our viewers. But unfortunately, it looks like this is going to play out to be just another horrible mass shooting, school shooting incident with fatalities here in Uvalde, Texas. Send it back to you.
Bill, you might have stated this, but the shooter has been apprehended. Do you know what his connection was to the school or the kids?
Neil, I'm hearing from law enforcement sources that the shooter is dead. He is down. Not that he is in custody, that he is dead. I don't have any other information as to who he is, why he did this, anything like that, but I can confirm from law enforcement sources and other sources that I'm being told the shooter is deceased at this time.
All right, thank you very much for that, Bill Maloogian. Another development we are following as we wait to hear from the Texas authorities on what might have been the motive behind the shooting and why young kids in elementary school were targeted. The developments in New York City. Ted Williams joins us right now because it occurs at the time, Ted, that we're going to get more details on the culprit behind that attack on a Goldman Sachs worker on a train on Sunday, who was indiscriminately shot. He turned himself in today. We're going to learn a little bit more about how that all happened, why he might have done this, and why turning himself in right now. And now this Texas shooting as well. Disparate incidents, very, very different conditions, but still a reminder, crime, out of control. What do you think?
Absolutely. Let me, if I could, just address the Uvalde's, Texas shooting at the elementary school, where they've said that as of now it's being reported that at least 2 are dead, meaning students, and at least 14 are wounded. It is my understanding that this all started with the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol was chasing after this guy. This guy got to the elementary school and opened fire at the elementary school, which is very sad in and of itself there. I can also tell you, when it comes to the New York situation, this is such a tragedy. This man, Daniel Enriquez, was on the subway on his way to a brunch. This guy, Andrew Abdullah, 25 years old, a career criminal, was pacing back and forth, and it is alleged that he pulled a gun, shot this man, Enriquez, in the chest, and then rushed off the subway, gave the gun to a vagrant upstairs. The vagrant then, unfortunately, sold the gun to a third party for $10, and then that third party turned it in to the police. Crime, unfortunately, right now, all over this country, is just off the chart. Just so sad that these incidents are happening.
You know, in the New York incident, we know he turned himself in. We know that apparently he wasn't targeting this guy. It was indiscriminate. Maybe authorities will update us. But there's even been talk by Merrick Adams that maybe we need magnetometers, something that would show or indicate as you had a train, whether you're carrying a gun. I don't know where this goes, but that we keep having certainly these incidents in subway stations, to say nothing of what's happening above ground in the streets where crime is at multi-year highs. I mean, this is getting out of control and beyond senses.
It absolutely is, and I think what is needed is more law enforcement officers, and I want to make sure I'm clear. I didn't say less. I mean more law enforcement officers to saturate these neighborhoods, to saturate the subway system. It was only, Neil, about a month ago that we had 10 people shot in the subway system. Crime is the chart in New York. I agree with the sister, by the way, of Eric Enrique. I stand to be corrected when I say Eric is Dave Enrique, when she spoke out and said that citizens just cannot feel safe in the city of New York at this immediate time.
You know, we're learning that this alleged shooter, Under Abdullah, 25 years old, had 2 open criminal cases in New York City. One in Brooklyn, we understand, Ted, for a separate incident stemming from an April 24th vehicle theft, and the other from an alleged assault in Manhattan a couple of years ago. So he has a long track record and was obviously released in both of these prior incidents, if we're to believe these early reports. What do you think of that?
You know, Neil, that is what's frustrating the citizens of New York. Before the ink is dry on these arrests, these criminals, these bottom feeders, are back out on the street. The question that needs to be answered with this guy, Andrew Abdullah, is why was he out back on the streets of New York? Again, since 2015, this guy's been arrested over 19 times there in that city. And here it is, he's on a subway with a gun where he shoots this man in an unprovoked shooting there on Sunday. Just a sad situation.
You know, he turned himself in. You don't see that all the time because he was well covered and unrecognizable in this hoodie and these other things that police were trying to track down. What do you make of that?
Well, you know, it's the way he turned himself in. And from what I've been told is that he came to the station with a minister in a Rolls Royce. It is my understanding that he was trying meeting Abdullah to negotiate that he turned himself into the mayor, Eric Adams, there in the city, and that did not happen. You know, the fact about it is, at some stage or another, you're going to probably hear that this guy was mentally ill. But he wasn't mentally ill enough to shoot this guy. He wasn't mentally ill enough to run up to the subway, to the top of the station. He wasn't mentally ill enough where he would give the gun to somebody else and he didn't uncover himself. So I'm simply saying the citizens in New York and all over this country is frustrated with these violent killings. And all we need to do now, Neil, is look at Uvalde, Texas, where some kids, Neil, are not going home to their family tonight. And then you've got other kids who are in the hospital as a result of gun violence.
Yeah, it's beyond incredible, and especially in this incident with these children. They're just kids. They're in grade school. No rhyme or reason for any of it. Ted, I always regret we have to get together on circumstances like this, but I'm grateful for your insight. Nevertheless, Ted Williams, following all of this, the crime and the stories you hear reported, particularly in the New York metropolitan area, just among the many reasons New Yorkers are very leery of returning to their in-office jobs in the big house. Incidents like this, forget COVID and spikes in cases, are what give them pause. Charlie Gasparino has been following that side of the story. Charlie.
You're right, Neil, and it's why major CEOs are going to meet with Mayor Adams this week, I believe on Thursday, a Zoom meeting where they're going to press their case that we're not coming back to the office in full force unless you get crime under control. This is going to be a Zoom meeting. From what we understand, it's going to be 100 people. This meeting is being held by the Partnership for New York. It's a big lobby group for major businesses that represent banks, real estate companies, all the big employers in New York, and you know who they are, J.P. Morgan, you name it, every major bank, every major real estate company is going to be, from what I understand, is going to be represented at this meeting. Some of the names are going to be at the meeting, and it'll tell you just how serious the business community is now taking crime and how worried they are about their employees, essentially not being safe traveling around the city and traveling in the subways. We have Steve Schwartzman of Blackstone, Goldman CEO David Solomon, as you know, Mr. Daniel Enriquez is a Goldman Sachs employee, and his boss, Solomon, will be on the call, from what I understand. The NBA's Adam Silver, Wells Fargo's CEO, Charlie Scharf, Jim Tisch, the head of Lowe's Corp, Lowe's Hotel, and Steve Sequeri of American Express. Will all be there. Those are just some of the bold-faced names, Neil. but from what I understand, it's going to be 100 people, and the CEOs are going to want some answers. They're also going to, from what I understand, at least this is what I'm hearing now from people close to the partnership, they're going to make the case, Mr. Adams, it's about time that you put up or shut up. And here's why. The business community were huge supporters of Mayor Adams for his run for office because he pledged to get crime under control. It's not. People are still getting shoved before subway trains. People get shot in subways. People are getting harassed in the streets by criminals and mentally ill. And it's out of control. And Mayor Adams, at the same time, wants all these banks and all these companies to bring their workforces back to pre-pandemic levels. Well, guess what? If they're not going to be safe here, they're not going to bring them back. And I think that's going to be the message given to Mayor Adams. This more subtle message is, Mayor Adams, you're running around the country. You're enjoying the trappings of the office. You were in Beverly Hills recently. There's rumors you want to be president. Please, before you do any of that, get the situation here under control regarding crime, because it'll destroy the economy if you don't. Tend to what's happening here in the city, and a bit of all hat, no cattle here with this mayor. He talks a good game. He says exactly what you want to hear if you're a businessman, but what they're telling me is he doesn't deliver. And that message, I think subtly at least, will be given at this meeting on Thursday. We should point out this meeting is closed to the press. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think if I was listening in, they might censor some of their remarks. So maybe they'll let them have it and tell them how they feel. And because you get the feeling, Neil, that the situation in New York is rapidly coming off. The train is coming off the tracks. We're starting to look like Chicago here, and we shut down violently during the pandemic. New York City was shut down. People lost businesses. It is just coming back, and it's reopening amid a crime epidemic. And I think if Mayor Adams wants Wall Street to spend their tax dollars, if he wants them not to move to Florida or Texas or wherever they're moving to, he better get this under control real quick.
Yeah, people have to feel safe. The irony here is that the very financial firms that will be petitioning him to do something about this are the ones who, a little more than a few weeks ago, were demanding their employees get back to work. Now they're in this situation of saying, we understand, not so fast, not so fast.
Yeah, it is remarkable. Listen, it's easier to, there's a lot of efficiencies when you have a full workforce, right. And I think Wall Street understands that. But, if it's a toss-up between getting shot in the chest, while one of your employees is going to brunch on a Sunday, just think about that. Yeah. Going to brunch or working from home. I think working from home. And, politically for Adams, this is dangerous territory. I mean, he was literally at a fashion show at the New York Stock Exchange while this gentleman was shot in the chest, minding his own business by this guy. So it's that sort of dichotomy not being lost.
Yeah, it is wild. All right, we were going to go now in New York, where they're going to detail exactly what they can about the culprit here in that attack on that Goldman Sachs worker on a train. It's not quite ready to go yet. When it is, we will return there. We're also going to go to Texas, where we're getting a few more, unfortunately, precious few details on a shooting in a Texas elementary school that has claimed at least 2 kids' lives, with better than a dozen injured, some seriously. We'll have more after this.
Lily's on your 6th Limo and need customized car insurance from Liberty Mutual, so they only pay for what they need.
We are not getting you a helicopter.
Only pay?
Liberty, Liberty.
Are you haunted by your cable service?
Have you noticed strange, frightening fees on your monthly bill?
Do you experience feelings of dread when you pass by your cable box?
If the answer is yes,
who are you gonna call?
DirecTV Stream. Now save $30 over 2 months.
Introducing the all-new Infiniti QX60. Take on your wild world in style.
With less moderate to severe eczema, why hide your skin if you can help heal your skin from within? Dupixent helps keep you one step ahead of eczema with clearer skin and less itch.
My skin? Nah,
Don't use if you're allergic to Dupixent. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about Dupixent.
For the line crew and the go-getters. For shoulders to lean on and backs that don't break. For everyday heroes keeping doors open, lights on, and gears turning, there's Granger. Supplies and solutions.
All right, the New York Police Commissioner is detailing the suspect in that attack on a Goldman Sachs employee in a subway car on Sunday. He was randomly executed, and the assailant turned himself in. Let's go to that.
But again and again, his repeat offenses were not enough to keep him off our streets. His criminal history stretches back to 2016 and includes charges of felony assault, robbery, attempted murder, and a still open gun charge from 2 years ago. The most basic purpose of the criminal justice system is to keep people safe. And in the only state in our nation where a judge is not allowed to consider dangerousness when setting bail, this was yet another failure of that system. And now Daniel Enriquez is gone. His family and loved ones are suffering, and they rightfully want to know why. Well, there is no valid reason why, because this horrific crime should never have happened. And I said 2 weeks ago, after the shooting of our officer, Dennis Vargas, that we need to right these wrongs. Violence on the Q train last Sunday morning was committed by another repeat offender who was given every leeway by the criminal justice system. We cannot and will not stand for it. Today, a killer is off our streets, and we turn our attention to getting justice for Daniel Enriquez and his family. That's our focus moving forward in this case. And along with the district attorney's office and our other law enforcement, that's exactly what we are going to do. I want to turn it over to the mayor, Eric Adams.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks to the good work of the men and women and our partners in law enforcement, we got him. And we got him in a way that he did not cause more injuries to New Yorkers. I think the Commissioner stated something that's important. We got a killer off our streets, but far too many killers are back on our streets through a revolving door criminal justice system that appears to pit NYPD and good New Yorkers against the bad guys. We were fortunate to have a thorough police work here, and the chief of detectives lay out any reasonable thinking New Yorker is going to ask themselves, still on our streets.
What the fuck?
It's a tragedy. But the fact is, he is the post. Many believe they can create violence without any repercussion at all. It is too easy, too comfortable to use the gun, and there is a pervasive feeling among dangerous people that there's no repercussions for their actions, for using it. As we stand here today, we also want to have our hearts go out to the family. The innocent person. He should have been sitting at his desk and should have been planning outings with his family. He should have been able to enjoy things that New Yorkers enjoy. We are mourning his. I spoke to his sister. She was full of pain. Just could not find reasons why someone of her brother. Hearing her words coming from the Bronx, the commissioner and I stopped to see the parents of 11-year-old baby that was prematurely taken from us due to gun violence. We see it far too often, and all of this is fueled by America's toxic culture. Have to experience the loss. New Yorkers have to experience the trauma. As we try to rebuild system. This is an impact, but we will respond accordingly and ensure our city is safe and our transportation system is safe. Part of our recovery is tied to the MTA. That's why we're glad to have the MTA as a part to move forward to rid it of the violence that we're seeing. Daniel was shot. We feel it in our hearts. We lost a fellow New Yorker, one of the good guys. We are doing our job, I say over and over again. Their partners have removed over 2,900 illegal guns off our streets. As soon as we place them on, more return with bad guys who feel comfortable enough, even after we arrest them, that they can come back out and wreak havoc on our city. The industry pumps guns into the community faster than we can take them out. Arresting the shooter doesn't change what is going on every day in this industry. And we have to fight united to stop the flow of guns. The sea of violence comes from many rivers. We must dam each one. Today we damned one of them. There are far too many more we have to dam without the help to carry it out. Also want to put my heart out to the family members